So Geoff Keighley, I believe is his name. That's how you pronounce it. He's the one that runs the Video Game Awards. He was attempting to trademark the Game Awards with the U.S. Patent Office, meaning no one else will be able to host an award show with the words Game Awards in it. Worse, he's emailing fans and requesting they file with the U.S. PTO on his behalf. So he's trying to trademark the Game Awards, I guess, to try and protect his brand. But I think one of the issues is that Game Awards is incredibly vague. So it kind of feels bizarre to try and trademark it. Like, how could, like, and a lot of people are saying, like, this could potentially hurt, smaller companies that just want to run their little award shows. Like, hey, here's my Game Awards. Here's the Scar Thumb Podcast Game Awards. If I ever wanted to host my own Game Awards show, but I can't use Game Awards because that's trademark. That would be bizarre. But it seems like it's done in response to a person named Stuttering Craig of the he runs a show called Side Scrollers. And actually, I'll have to probably expand this as well because I don't to cut this off. We'll remove the border for this so we can see the full thing. He's hosting something called the Real Game Awards, guys. The Real Game Awards. Side Scrollers. It's like kind of like one of those like anti-woke style, conservative leaning shows, kind of like in the vein of, like, say, like Neurotic and what's the guy, Critical Drinker, what is it, Geeks and Gamers, that type of crowd, in that vein, where it's kind of conservative, kind of right wing, woke, very. We got to fight against the woke industry. Let me just read this. Why does the TRGA exist? We've spent almost 20 years talking about video games, and the video game industry has never been this crazy. I'm creating the Real Game Awards because of the glaring chasm between video game developers, the media, and the players themselves. We've all seen it. There's disdain towards gamers from media and even developers. It's insane. We all feel the disconnect and frustration, so I'm founding TGRA with a clear mission to empower gamers with a voice. I want to ensure your voices are heard and respected in the industry that often overlooks your perspective. So he's just saying, hey, and then like he just says, I'm going to, get this done. I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but doing something's better than doing nothing. And join me as we take games back. So he wants to take games back is his goal. And he has like memberships in order to like vote, nominate and vote. You have to pay $30 a year, which is kind of like just a way to like gatekeep. I'm for paywalls and certain things. It's a way to make sure people actually do things, actually do things properly and value it. So that some people are saying, which I think a lot of people do have to pay membership fees to vote and stuff like the Emmys and that kind of stuff. So it's not a ridiculous thing to ask. Some people were saying, this is just a cash grab. It's just a way to raise money. I don't know. I'm not going to speak to that. I haven't really thought too much about that. What I'm more interested is in the nominations to see if they're any better. I mean, this came out quite a while ago, but let's take a look at where are the nominations. Oh yeah, we got to go to updates. So these are the nominations. I mean, the thing about the Real Game Awards, before we get into the categories, is that the way, even the name itself, the Real Game Awards, he wants to he says he wants to take games back, but calling it the Real Game Awards to me seems like it's a parody of the Game Awards, which, I mean, I don't think it's supposed to be. I think he's actually being serious about, trying to make his own thing. But the issue that I kind of think it runs into is the fact that he's trying to do both. He's kind of trying to be like, this is sort of like a fun little jab against, the woke industry. At the same time, he's also trying to make, a serious award show. Like he's kind of like treading in both worlds. And you'll see from the nominations, I think this is kind of an issue because this has some good ideas. At the same time, it also has some really bad ideas too. Well, I'm not like really bad, but I just don't think it works. I don't think there's a lot of negative categories in here that I don't think work. If you want to make a game awards that celebrates, video games, then I don't see why you have them here. But let's just go into it, and maybe I can make a little more sense. So let's start out and see. First off, best DLC / expansion. I think this is a good thing to have this separated again. We're like, all right, what was the best DLC this year? There's plenty of DLCs. You could probably make a separate category for remasters at this point because there'll always be 20 remastered or remake games in this genre. Best action game, I guess, same as, hopefully it's not as congested. Best jiggle physics. Here they're being a little cheeky, like, hey, this is like a game award show, but we're not afraid of sexy women type of thing. But we'll see that it doesn't always work. This is one of the issues. If down here is the best bait and switch, they have some negative categories, which I think just doesn't work. Like if you want to celebrate games, I get, but they also kind of like want to insult the problems with the industry. Doing both, I don't think in the same ceremony doesn't work. Like you have things like the Grifties, or you just have like a full like parody, like the Razzies, which is just like a fully a parody award ceremony. Trying to do both in the same thing, the same show, to me just doesn't work. Like why not just make it a separate show? But I guess in a way, he's playing to his audience. It's again, the point of the channel of the side scrollers is kind of like anti-woke video game content, where it mostly does focus on saying like, hey, this is anti-woke, or this is the dumb thing that the latest wokey leftists have done. So it does play to his audience. I just don't think it necessarily works as well in a game show or a game awards. Like why not focus on what makes games really good? But you have category like best racing game, best RPG, best sports game. Again, you have focusing on like journalists. Like why even mention journalists in a game award show? But they have the worst journalists, they have the best journalists. Here is Husbando of the Year. They also, like, let me scroll down, they have Waifu of the Year as well. So they do the typical, this is just annoying to me because it's like the typical like, we're conservative leaning type of thing. We're like, oh, we're guys. We're really guyish. We're gonna have Waifu of the Year because sexy women are awesome. But you know what? We're not sexist either. So let's have Husbando as well because women play video games too. So we'll have a category from them as well. Yeah. My wife asked me to put this in here. It's like there's also the other thing that annoys me about the Husbando and Waifu of the Year is they really missed an opportunity. If you made this like male character of the year, like male video game character of the year and female video game character of the year, it could actually be a very interesting category. So you could like voting for Husbando of the Year as a guy is gay. You don't refer to men as husbandos, but like what would be the best male character of the year for you guys? Like is it like, Titus from like the Space Marines? What is it, Cloud? That could be an interesting category to consider. And even like female character of the year. Is it, someone that's super sexy like Eve is? Or is it a character like, Zelda from Echoes of Wisdom, which isn't necessarily sexy, but the gameplay and the story is very compelling, and you just like the character there. That could be an interesting sort of thought-provoking category. that it's missed by making it kind of goofy, kind of like a jokey type of category. Best value, I actually like this category, where is it the game is appropriately priced, you get a lot of play out of it, a lot of fun. That's a cool category. I like the fact that they added it. Again, with like the negative stuff, biggest cash grab. Why? Again, it's just make fun of the industry as well. It's just part of the stick. Best early access. I actually do like this. Some people don't like early access. I think early access is a legitimate way to raise money for your game while you continue to support it. There's a lot of good early access games. I don't know if you consider something like Lethal Company early access, but stuff like Valheim, Project Zomboid, very very fun games, very enjoyable. So this is a cool category. Best multiplayer, best MMO. Again, you have like best story. All these things are fine. Best first-person shooter. They also have best third-person shooter. I guess there really is a lot of shooter games, but I do like the fact that you kind of separate these things to gotta give them their own spotlight. And they have fighting games, best company. That's all right. Best studio, like kind of focusing on like what studio is the best. But then again, you have like biggest industry failure. The Sony and then you have the different like PlayStation IP, Microsoft IP, Nintendo IP. I can kind of see that. For the console warriors, like which one do you think is the best? That's fun enough. It's not necessarily interesting, but it's still fun. And then you have shitty ass game of the year. Like, why bother? This bothers me as well. Like, what's the worst game of the year? And then you have game of the year. But again, that's his stick with like the anti-woke stick. Like, what's the worst game of the year? What's the crappiest? Is it Concord? Lamau? Is it Dustborn? I'd rather just focus on like elevating. If you're gonna like win an award show, like what is the best game of the year? But then you kind of like split these things in the splitting them. I think kind of hurts the brand, but it's here or there. In some ways, this is better, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe in some ways it's worse. I'd rather not have the negative categories. They do have some interesting stuff. But there's still like nothing like best or like most replayable video game, best replayability, no category for platformers, no category for like running guns or best roguelike game. There's like a ton of roguelikes. Why not have a category for that? Or why not get rid of some of this stuff like industry failures or negative categories or journalists and focus more on video games, like what cool video games are out there, and potentially give them an award. To me, that would be better if you want to like take games back. But that's just me. That's how I feel about it.